Hi, how are you, parents and students of Weymouth Township School? This is Mr. Henderson, the computer and technology teacher, and we're going to try to take a look at a quick video to give an overview of a little bit about how virtual learning is going to work this year at the start of 2020 and 2021 school year. Now, like a lot of things to deal with education, computers, and technology, there's not just one way that all teachers are going to do every single thing. For instance, if you went to do anything on a computer, you might have different types of computers, different layouts of computers, different programs on computers, and different options for doing any task that you can really imagine. And so, with that, I'm going to give an overview of some of the main ways that things are going to work. But there are some teachers that may have different ways that they found it works best for their classes. And this is just meant to be a general overview of what to expect and what to look for this year. So first, one important thing is our school's webpage, our homepage, weymouthtownshipschool.org. Now, this year, on our homepage, you may have noticed in other communication that there is a button right now at the very top right of the screen that says Teacher Pages. This is really an important place. It's a place where teachers can communicate with our virtual students just one way to post anything that they may need to refer to. And for my classes in particular, this is a really good starting place that parents and students are going to need to go to. So you see we have a list of all of our teachers in the school and their custom web pages that they can post anything as far as schedules, links, instructions. And we're going to take a look at mine for a second, where for right now it starts off with my contact information at the top, a simple, easy to read schedule for our virtual Wednesday special area classes, and then different information for each of the classes. This is a really important page, something that you may use today, in fact, to go ahead and get started for virtual learning this year. Now, for our classes this year, they're broken up into groups. I want to point out specifically that for pre-K and kindergarten in our school, while there will be different information through these web pages and different lessons that are provided virtually to students, that those students in pre-K and kindergarten, they don't get Google accounts yet. We're starting Google accounts with our first grade through eighth grade this year, and so students in kindergarten and pre-K, they would have different types of online materials, different types of virtual information and work and practice to do that don't involve the Google Suite. But for everybody in first through eighth grade, the Google Suite and different Google things that we're going to be taking a look at are really important. But that's the first step, is to, from time to time, whether this be on a weekly basis, daily basis, or every so often, to please make sure you're checking those individual teacher pages. And I'll show you an example of why we may need to use them right here in this video today. So aside from that, we have Google and logging into Google. Now, if you're on a Chromebook, the basics of a Chromebook, if you're not familiar, are that a Chromebook is built around an operating system that simply uses Google Chrome. Now, over the years that Chromebooks have been in existence, this has actually changed a little bit, and not to get too technical or too in depth about it, but it's also changed to allow Android apps, some Linux apps, and have some different versatility, but it's really just built around the concept of Google Chrome, the browser, being the entire operating system for the device. So if you're on a Chromebook, you start off not by opening programs, but you start off by signing into Google. And once you sign in that one time, like in the example here that I have with a sample student, once you sign in, you are then signed into Google and can go ahead and use what's called the G Suite or the Google Suite of apps that we have available. If you're not on a Chromebook and you are on a laptop, you're on a tablet, you're on a desktop computer, you might have to open Google Chrome or another browser if you use Safari, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, or any other browser as an alternative, and sign directly into Google. Now, typically that's through this blue sign-in button. If you happen to be on a page and you don't see that blue sign-in button, you can always click on these 9 dots right here, or this 9 panel grid, and then just click on search, and you'll see that blue sign in button pop up. So I'm going to use this sample account for a sample student, and once you use your Google username and password information, you can go ahead and then be signed in just as you would be on a Chromebook, and then have access to the whole G Suite or Google Suite of apps and different tools that you can use. Now, one of the first and foremost that we're going to take a look at, because everyone in the whole school is going to need to use this, everyone in first through eighth grade in some way or another, is the app browser, which is right here leading to Google Classroom. Google Classroom should be an icon that always shows up. It's not always in the same spot. Sometimes, like right now, it's a little bit more towards the top. Sometimes it's a little lower, left, right, middle. Sometimes you have to scroll for it, but it should always be there. That is something that I've seen 99.9% of the time. If for some reason it didn't show up or you wanted an alternative way to get there, if you just typed into the search bar Google Classroom, it's always going to be the first result, the first link, and take you to the same place. Now, because this is signed in as a sample student, I don't have any classes or anything set up yet. It basically starts us off fresh as if we are brand new. It's important for all teachers to say that they are a student. If you say I'm a teacher, it doesn't unlock anything that's all that interesting or cool, but simply just puts you in a different category that I would have to then go and adjust. So please just click on the fact that you are a student. Now, there may be different ways that your teachers have you join Google Classroom. There's essentially three different ways. They can either email you a direct invite, email you a sign-up link, or give you a code to join your Google Classroom for that class. What I'm going to be working with is the sign-up codes, just because I think that's a really efficient, easy way. But just like I said at the beginning of this video, there's no one correct way. Google gives us a couple different options, and so you may see that your teacher has asked you to sign up in a different way. And I'll mention something again about that in a minute, but to sign up for a class, I want to sign up right now, and let's pretend that I am a first grader. So back to my web page right here that we got to from the school's website, I posted all of the class codes for first through eighth grade. If I'm a first grader, I need this code right here. So first graders, you could try to do this on your own, or hopefully have an adult who can help you out. And this is the code right here, ZQGUS3X, that we would want to put in to Google Classroom to be part of that class and join that class. We could either remember it, look back at it, and type it in, or we could use one of the methods to copy and paste it. And if you're not familiar with that, that's something that we're going to talk about in the future. But most adults should be able to help you do that. This plus sign right here allows us to join a class. And I'm going to join this class as the sample student and sign in with that class code to be part of the first grade class. So once I put in the class code right here in this box, I click join. And after Google takes a second, I'm now part of this first class that I have here, and I can go back using this menu to browse, and I can see all of my classes. Right now I'm only signed up for one. You will most likely see many that you're signed up for, let's say 4 or 5, depending on the grade level that you're in. And you can choose to go between those different classes and go back through the menu system there. So back to this class, I am now signed in, I'm ready to work in this class, and I'm going to show a few other things. But let's just say, for instance, that your teacher wasn't having students sign up with that class code, that they gave you a direct invite. That's something that you might need to go to your mail for. By going back to that app browser that we talked about earlier in your email, you might see, and there's not one in this mailbox, but you might see an email from your teacher. Let's say it's Mr. Maffa or Mrs. Farrell asking you to sign up for that class, to click on a link or to sign up to be in their Google Classroom. It may be in your mailbox. So again, that might mean you have to click on the app browser and then go to your Gmail, and hopefully a parent or guardian or somebody older helping you can give you a little bit of assistance if you need help with that. So that would be the basics of getting started with Google Classroom, getting started with Google, and joining the classes that you're going to need to use for any type of virtual instruction this year.